Pittsburgh Panthers in front of the Oakland Zoo. And in case you're wondering why they call it the Oakland Zoo, it's a neighborhood. The name of the neighborhood here where the University of Pittsburgh is in the Peterson Events Center. Levance Fields, Antonio Graves, Gray Cook, and Levon Kendall, the Canadian national team player with a new haircut. We got to get a shot of Kendall at some point tonight. Let you have a look at his haircut. But Aaron Gray, 8 double-doubles in 17 games so far.
Yeah, he's the key. He's got to come out early and just attack Georgetown inside and outside because he can do that. Yeah, he had a drought of 4 straight games until he got 18 the other day at the ball. But also look for Sam Young and Ronald Ramon to come off that bench. They're like 6th and 7th men. They can leave scoring punch to give them a 7-man rotation.
Levance Fields, they call him the little general. He's got a great assist-to-turnover ratio.
Well, that's the key, really. I mean, in replacing Carl Krauser, the biggest knock on Krauser, and he was just an absolute winner, was that he didn't really value the ball. He threw it around a little bit, but Levance Fields does value the ball. He's getting better and better and learning how to manage a game. You know, he does have a 3-to-1 assist-turnover ratio. He's averaging about 5 assists per game on the season and has matured into one of the better point guards in the Big East.
He's 4th in the conference in assists so far, Levance Fields. Jamie Dixon plays a lot of guys. We'll probably see 9 players at least on the floor for Pittsburgh tonight, but Levance Fields will be the leader.
There's your haircut.
There's the haircut.
Wow.
And Jamie Dixon told us this haircut is the reason you shouldn't give guys days off during the season.
I totally agree, but he's going to have to come up big tonight. Levon Kendall is a 6'10". He's very versatile. He can shoot from the outside, get points in the paint. He really does an excellent job of passing down to Aaron Gray down low on the post. He's going to be really huge in terms of defensively playing against Jeff Green of Georgetown.
Now, do you think he was facing the mirror or with his back to it when he got that cut?
I think his roommate cut it.
I think he might have walked the bed.
Wow, he was sleeping in that long bed.
Antonio Graves has scored in double figures 10 times this season, and we told you what a good perimeter shooter Jonathan Wallace of Georgetown is. This guy hits nearly 51% from behind the arc. That's best in the Big East.
You know, but Reese, that's the difference in Pittsburgh this year and last year. I think last year Pittsburgh really struggled to score it at times, and they were a more methodical team. This year they're more fluid offensively. If they throw it inside to Aaron Gray and he's double teamed, he can kick it out to an open shooter, and they're knocking those down. And the whole offense now is more confident.
They lead the Big East in three-point shooting. I mean, typically, to use your term, it's been a quest to score for them at times.
Yeah, no question. And they've been kind of I use the word methodical, but it's been a team that kind of has methodically blown you out at times because they've done it with their defense and had to score off their defense, but they've gone through droughts. This team is a lot better scoring, and that takes some pressure off their defense. They don't have to get stopped. They don't have to pitch a shutout.
Jamie Dixon, one of the rising stars in coaching. He's put together 3 consecutive 20-win seasons and appears to be well on his way to making it 4 in a row. Pittsburgh and Georgetown coming up in just a little while. We had some great performances on this Saturday. Very few can match up with Kevin Durant. We'll show you the very best performances of the day. Some young kids making their names known midway through January.
Believe it or not, there are 2 guys in the house tonight getting more attention than Dick Vitale and Digger Phelps. That would be Georgetown's Roy Hibbert and Pittsburgh's Aaron Gray. Now, for the first time this season, the 2 big men will be equally matched with someone of their ability and size. Now, Hibbert's head coach John Thompson III told me his biggest concern for his big man tonight is to push Aaron Gray out of his comfort zone, which is right underneath the basket. Also, he wants Hibbert to realize what a terrific passer Gray is. I asked Coach Thompson, how do you counter with that? And he said, we just got to pray. All right, let's send it over to Andy Katz with more on Pittsburgh.
Thanks, Aaron. I just spoke with Aaron Gray just a little bit ago, and he expects there's going to be a point during this game where they go small, which is what happened to them last year. If they go zone, Gray told me he's going to have to look for the shooters. As for guarding Roy Hibbert, when he does, he says he's got to make him a passer. And when he goes up to the perimeter, he's got to keep him there. Reese?
All right, Andy, 15 points for Gray before that zone. Nothing after they went 2-3 last year. What about your Pontiac game changer for this one?
Well, to me, it's Levon Kendall, and I talked about how versatile he is offensively, but I really think he needs to step up defensively. He's given up some big games. Mario Bogans of Oklahoma State, Brian Butch of Wisconsin, and tonight against Jeff Green, one of the most versatile power forwards in the country.
I've got to go with Aaron Gray. I think he's got to set the tone early in this game when he can go inside and score, when he knows how to read situations. He finds his lanes, and yes, he can step out and shoot the ball. He may have to do that, especially if they're zoning tonight, but he's also capable of finding open players, and that'll be important if they double team and triple team him, is to find the open shooters.
That's all you guys talk about are the big guys. What about the guards? Come on, let's talk about the guards. I think it's going to be Levance Fields. It's going to be a game changer in this one. He had 24 points, 4 steals against Syracuse in a win on the road. Reese talked about his 3-to-1 assist turnover ratio. I think his decision making in this game is going to be of vital importance to Pittsburgh, getting the ball to the right people at the right time against a very good Georgetown defense that hasn't given up 60 in its last 8 games.
Now let's see. Kendall, Gray, Fields, the astute among you might know what's coming on our Pontiac primetime picks. Who do you have, Pitt or Georgetown tonight?
I like Pitt. I mean, they're terrific defensively. They can throw the ball down low to Aaron Gray. And you talk about the guards. Levance Fields can knock down threes.
Well, I'm going with this team called Let's Go Pitt. I think this is the angle tonight. This is how they're going to get it done. I'm going with Pitt.
I'm going to go with Pitt as well. I think Pitt's playing at home. They've been playing very well of late. Georgetown did not have a very good outing against Villanova. They need to bounce back, but they're also going to need to shoot the ball well against a very physical Pittsburgh defense. I'm going with the Panthers.
2 of the better shooting teams in the Big East, but also 2 very physical defenses tonight. Pittsburgh and Georgetown, 2 teams that make their living trying to stop the opposing offense. 2 of the better big men in America and certainly in the Big East Conference. It ought to be a lot of fun from the Pete tonight, where Georgetown will try to get its second victory here. Dan Shulman and Dick Vitale will have the call in just a little while.
All right, thank you, Reese. Tonight here in Pittsburgh, the fans are piling into the Peterson Event Center. It's another sellout here at the Pete. You got to know somebody pretty important to get a seat here tonight because it's prime time. Welcome to the Steel City for ESPN's Saturday Primetime. The 11-4 Georgetown Hoyas roll into town, led by the front court duo of Roy Hibbert and Jeff Green. After a disappointing 4-3 start, the Hoyas have now won 7 of 8. Meanwhile, Pitt center Aaron Gray has powered the 15-2 Panthers into 7th place in the polls, leading the team in both points and rebounds. It's a Big East battle of the bigs. The Zoo is fired up, and so is Dickie V. It's the Hoyas and the Panthers next. Take care of business here at the Peterson Event Center, one of the toughest environments in all of college basketball. The Panthers have lost just 1 game per year in the 6-year history of this building. Welcome to ESPN Saturday Primetime, presented by DirecTV. The Georgetown Hoyas are the opposition, taking on the number 7 Pitt Panthers in a big-time Big East matchup here tonight. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman and Dick Vitale along with the Oakland Zoo here in Pittsburgh for a big-time matchup between Pitt and Georgetown. Pick 1-2 in the Big East preseason. And, Dick, a lot of similarities between these 2 teams.
I think when you look at these clubs, Dan, you see, number 1, they both pride themselves on the defensive side of the floor. Number 2, they both like to rebound. Number 3, they rely on balanced scoring. They don't have a dominant scorer, but they have balance. They have 5 guys that go between like 8 points and 14.9 a game.
And this is old school basketball here tonight. Both teams actually have a 7-footer.
Yeah, you can't believe it. I tell you, true low post centers. You got Roy Hibbert on one side for Georgetown. Aaron Gray, the key for Georgetown. They have to get some shots for Hibbert. He didn't attempt a field goal in a loss against Villanova. But before that, they won 7 consecutive games by double digits. And you know the Oakland Zoo. This place is tough for anybody to come here and get a W. They've only lost 1 game at home in the last 2 years.
Let's get more now on the big guy matchup tonight with Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Well, Dan, Hoyas center Roy Hibbert said he's been looking forward to this matchup against Aaron Gray and the Pittsburgh Panthers all season long. If you can believe it, tonight will be the very first time this season that both big men match up equally with someone of their size and ability. Graves joked with me and said, "It's about time. I'm sick of guarding guys on the perimeter." And Hibbert told me the best best thing to do when guarding Aaron Gray is to move him out of his comfort zone, which is right underneath the basket. Dan, it proves to be a good matchup tonight, so much so 20 NBA scouts in the house tonight to check it out.
All right, Aaron, great stuff. Let's go to our Star Watch because these are not one-man teams, even with the 7-footers. Jeff Green, a terrific triple threat kind of guy. He can score, rebound, dish. He's got a lot of ability. And Levance Fields, just a sophomore, with an assist-to-turnover ratio of almost 3-to-1. He is on his way to a terrific career here in Pittsburgh. The starting lineups now beginning for the visitors. The Hoyas picked second behind Pittsburgh in the Big East preseason. Jonathan Wallace and Jesse Sapp. Wallace averaging better than 11 points per game. Up front, Hibbert Green and a freshman, DeJuan Summers, a very highly touted recruit. For Pittsburgh, Fields is joined by Antonio Graves. 51% from beyond the arc this year for Graves. And up front, Aaron Gray's got some help and a transfer, Mike Cook, at about 11 points per game, and a fifth-year senior in Levon Kendall. What can you say, Dick, about the job Jamie Dixon has done at Pittsburgh?
Well, you know, he really followed his predecessor, who did a great job, set the tone by bringing a physical style here, Ben Holland. And think about it, last year they were 16-1 at home. They're 10-0 right now at home. Their only loss last year at home was to Seton Hall.
And you can see how excited is the zoo right behind us. This game, like every game here in Pittsburgh, is a sellout.
Pittsburgh really been playing great defense in their last 5 games since they played that duel when they played Oklahoma State and Wisconsin.
They have held their last 2 opponents, South Florida and DePaul, under 50 points, winning both of those games. Pitt's 3-0 in league play. Georgetown's 1-1. Jesse Sapp high off the glass and in.
Nice drive by Sapp. They're not a very deep team on the perimeter. Lost Eggerson, by the way. Transfer takes away a little bit of the flexibility and versatility that John Thompson III can have.
Pittsburgh, a much deeper team. Jamie Dixon says we're like a baseball team. We've got 9 starters. He doesn't like to differentiate between his top 5 and his next 4. As Graves turns it over, John Thompson III in his 3rd year with the Hoyas.
Well, you know, he's 2-0 right now against Jamie Dixon. He beat him on his floor here 2 years ago, and he also beat him last year when he was 15 down and came back, and he rotated out of a man-to-man and went to a zone defense.
Went to a much smaller lineup in the second half. Roy Hibbert hardly played. They swarmed Gray in the zone, and Gray could not really get going in the second half a year ago. Using the glass, Jeff Green, and a good start for the Hoyas.
I think Green is the key player today with Game Day and all the guys. We were talking about that up there. There are 4 losses. There's one common denominator. He averages 5.5 a game in Georgetown's 4 losses. He's too good for that, man.
Hibbert and Green considered to be one of the best 1-2 duos in anybody's front court in the nation. Cook inside on the feed from Kendall.
You know, Cook gives him some offensive ability. He's a Marco Polo guy, a transfer. Came out of East Carolina, and he fits in perfectly with this rotation.
From Philadelphia, wanted to play in the Big East, didn't get the opportunity initially. Now he's had a second chance at it. He's happy to be more of a blender here than he was at East Carolina. Green looking confident early, buries the 3.
That's a big plus for Hoya fans, and certainly for John Thompson III. If they can get him going, he's so talented.
Green with 5 early points. He's a 44% shooter from beyond the arc.
Just remember this, last year they were the one team that challenged the Gators in their run for the national title.
Only lost by 4 points, and a game where every Hoya to a man tells you had they played their best, they should have won. Kendall from the baseline, 7-4.
Why can't you get your guy from Canada to shoot the ball a little bit more? That Canadian's got some ability, like you do with John Saunders.
Kendall sporting a new haircut and a fresh tattoo as well.
Well, maybe he's going to shoot the ball a little bit more. He's a glue guy, a blender, as Andy Katz wrote about. Called him the best glue guy in basketball. For you people out there, glue guys, a guy that does a lot of little things. As you look at this tandem right here, Hibbert and Green. Wow, take a look at that against Villanova. They had 22 turnovers in that game, and most of them were trying to feed the post. I told you so many times, man, that's a lost art.
Hibbert not credited with a single field goal attempt in that game, was fouled on 3 occasions. Meanwhile, Aaron Gray, when he gets that close to the basket, you can forget about it.
Well, he had the great post position inside. He sealed off the defense exceptionally well.
Cook forces a turnover, but it's out of bounds. Back to the Hoyas.
You can feel the electricity here, the intensity. They really love this place. It's a beautiful arena.
It is.
I love it. You're not going to be back here Tuesday.
That's right. We'll see Connecticut on Tuesday night against Pittsburgh in another big-time Big East matchup. A lot of Big East action around the country today, including Louisville handing Providence its first conference defeat.
I'll tell you one thing. Louisville looks like they're starting to heat it up right now. Rick Pitino's club. 2 wins in a row for the first time all year.
I'll tell you who else looked good. Watch some of it at noon Eastern today. Dave O'Brien, Rick Majerus had the game. Marquette really pounded West Virginia today.
Well, Marquette's had a real good week. They may be my team of the week on my DickVitaleOnline.com website.
That's right. They had the win over UConn on the road midweek, right?
And I'll tell you a player, you talk about player of the year in the Big East, people better start taking a look at Demetrius Nichols from up there in Syracuse. Had 23 today in a win over Villanova.
Ed Corbett with a foul call on Antonio Graves of Pittsburgh. Sapp will inbound it for the Hoyas. Another Big East game earlier today. As you mentioned, Syracuse beat Villanova by 11. UConn's at St. John's tonight. Hibbert!
How can that young man not attempt a shot would drive me bananas. Talking to John before the game, and I think he felt the same way. And it's a combination. There he is, gets in deep, and there's the old school hook shot across the lane. It's a combination. It's the post player being a little bit more active, and number 2, people feeding him at the right time. You see what Odin had a big game tonight?
24 points, 15 rebounds, and an Ohio State 2-point win over Tennessee.
He was a little bit more active.
I guess so. Graves gets into the lane and knocks down the floater. Both of these teams so balanced, and so many different guys can score.
You know, Graves can make the 3. One of the strong suits of this Pittsburgh team this year is their ability to make the trifecta.
Yep. One of the best three-point shooting teams around. Graves also getting a lot of acclaim recently for his defense stick. He will guard the best perimeter player on the other team, and tonight that means he's going to guard Jonathan Wallace, and he just forced a turnover.
Wallace, an experienced player on the perimeter, solid play. He also guarded Demetrius Nichols up there at Syracuse. That was a big win because it was a road W.
Any road win in this league, or any league really, is big time. And Pittsburgh's already got a couple. They won at Syracuse and DePaul.
And you know, DePaul beat Kansas up there. Also had a win over California as well.
How do you predict anything this year? The parity is unbelievable. Cook on the baseline. Gray's got some shooting touch. Fields open for 3. And the long rebound comes down to Jeremiah Rivers getting some early minutes. Doc's son.
He played really well when we had the game against Duke. He was 3 for 3 and then injured his ankle.
He has taken Wallace's place early here in this game. Green's hit 1 3 tonight. Puts the ball on the floor, and he's off to a big start.
Nice drive to the basket. They're really getting down into the gut of that defense.
7 for Jeff Green already.
He's really active. He's being aggressive offensively.
Kendall, he's hit 1 baseline jumper. This one a little bit strong.
He was running away as he shot that rather than squaring his body and following through. Good man-to-man defense. I think we'll see some zones out of both these clubs.
Gray steps out to Hedge, recovers to get Hibbert.
Both clubs preseason, number 1 and number 2, selected by the media.
Georgetown was ranked in the top 10 preseason. They've been out of the polls now for the last 5 weeks. Sapp. Tough pass inside, stolen away, and then Sapp compounds the mistake by committing a foul.
You know, Dan, I think that ranking was too high. It was based on their run in the NCAA. People forget they lost 3 quality starters.
They lost Bowman and Cook and Owens, but they're off to a good start here tonight thanks to Jeff Green. He's got 7 early points. Georgetown by 3.
Give them something to shoot. Give them something to hoop. Give them something they can alley-oop. Chill.
This exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. There's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's DirecTV. And in part by eBay. Whatever it is, you can get it on eBay.
Welcome back here to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, inside the Peterson Event Center, affectionately known as the Pete here in town. Beautiful on-campus facility here for the Panthers. Georgetown up 3 early on Pittsburgh in a very, very tough place to win. If you're the road team, as Dick mentioned on game day and earlier tonight, Pittsburgh almost unbeatable here. They're 74-6 in the 5.5 years that they've been in this building. But, boy, Jeff Green is off to a good start tonight.
Similar to what we've seen over there with Wisconsin when we had the Badgers. The Lions Club had a little struggle today with Northwestern, but they were able to get in the winner's circle.
Well, lots of close games today. Kansas needed overtime to win at Iowa State.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, what a game that was. Ronald Ramon off the bench, a sharpshooter, and he is in with an early 3 to tie the game.
They went through a stretch of 4 games prior to the DePaul game. They made 37 threes. The combination of Graves, Fields, Ramon. This is the best shooting perimeter team Pittsburgh's had in all the years they've been here.
Agreed. Dick, right now, Gray has gone to the bench, so Kendall is giving up a lot of size defending Roy Hibbert.
On the top of the show, we talked about one of the similarities is the balance that these clubs have. Right now, Pittsburgh's have 5 different guys have scored.
Nobody averaging more than 15 points per game for either team. Georgetown's top 3 scorers all average between 11 and 12. Green, Hibbert, and Wallace. Here's Hibbert going right at Kendall and dunks right over him.
He gets the one-on-one, good drop step, post move inside. I want to get the game plan of Mr. Wright in Villanova, how he kept him from taking a field goal attempt. Yeah. Other than, like you said, he got fouled 3 times.
Sam Young is into the game now for Pittsburgh, and Tyrell Biggs is getting set to check in, possibly to try and defend Hibbert.
Good scouting report. They know they got to get up in the face of Ramon. He's such a deadly shooter from that perimeter.
Backup point guard, and also along with Graves, one of their 2 best shooters. Young will shoot for 3. He knew he missed it when hustling after that rebound, but it bounces to Rivers, who stepped out of bounds with the ball.
I thought his dad was one special player when he played at Marquette in the NBA. Quality guy, has great intellect for basketball. I haven't seen his daughter Callie play volleyball, but my buddies tell me that she is unbelievable.
Jeremiah out of Winter Park, Florida, a freshman averaging about 12 minutes per game. A switch here and a mismatch. Graves penetrates, finds Biggs.
Shot that basketball. Even though Biggs scored, that was a difficult shot. He was right there for the Lambs. Very unselfish.
Pretty nice job, Dick, by Biggs to use the rim to help keep Hibbert away from him.
A different personality in his team this year with Pittsburgh, and that Krauser used to dominate the basketball. Yep. Good player, but he dominated. This club moves the ball a lot more.
Carl Krauser, by the way, playing professionally in Germany right now. Green is tripped by Young, and that'll be a foul on Sam Young as we go back down to the other end to look at that replay.
Now it's amazing. A little, as you see right here, the drive down the lane, penetration, and he dishes it. He had the layup, and now he's going to make a difficult reverse shot. Looking at the stats right now, Hibbert and Green had a total of 9 points versus Villanova.
Unbelievable.
They got 11 already.
Really?
They got 11 already.
Hibbert sits down, Dick, and Aaron Gray comes back in. Vernon Macklin, a freshman for Georgetown at 6'9", is now the biggest player on the floor for the Hoyas. Good move there by Green, and he draws the foul on Biggs as we check in with Aaron Andrews.
Dan, Dick mentioned the Hoyas lost to the Gators last year in the NCAA tournament. Now, Roy Hibbert said the one thing he noticed about that entire game is how Gators coach Billy Donovan shuffled his big men in and out of that game like they were on the schedule. Hibbert joked, all I could do was tug on my shorts and breathe heavily. So that got him to thinking. He believed he didn't eat well before that game, and in fact, his off-season training wasn't that good either. And actually, that loss, Dick and Dan, elevated this entire team's off-season conditioning.
I'll tell you one thing, Aaron. I know you didn't cry when the Gators beat the Hoyas. She's still on cloud 9 celebrating that national championship over Ohio State. I'll tell you, the Gators were so impressive. They would be my #1 team right now if you had a vote today. They were brilliant against South Carolina, beat them by 34.
Lee Humphrey had 7 threes in that game. Keith Benjamin inside. He is technically the 9th man on the team, but he's one of the reasons why Jamie Dixon says, hey, don't say that. In my mind, we've got 9 starters.
Did you notice the ball movement?
Yep.
If you have player movement and ball movement, you're going to get a high percentage shot.
Great backdoor cut, one of the staples of the Georgetown/Princeton offense where John Thompson III came from.
Yeah, they make a little bit of adjustment to the normal Princeton offense to take advantage of the size inside of Hibbert.
Well, we've got 2 teams right now very crisp offensively. Gray leaves the jumper a little bit short. And here comes Jonathan Wallace up into the front court along with Sapp, who has returned.
They're really trying to get the ball to Green a lot more.
Green being defended by Biggs. Georgetown's made 6 consecutive field goals.
Pittsburgh's had 7 guys, different guys score already tonight.
Sapp Misses the three. Gray, who's averaging a double-double, rips down the rebound.
Tempo in the game's a lot faster than I expected.
Agreed. Gray spins underneath and lays it in.
That's a big-time strong move. They are really executing really well down the baseline area. They found a real deficiency defensively in that baseline corner.
Graves, a senior from Mansfield, Ohio, averaging 10.5 points per game. He's got 4 so far tonight. Yep, they get beat in the backdoor cut again as Sapp lays it in.
They really make it so difficult for you to try to give help from the offside because they bring them away from the basket. Great job of executing. Now they're rotating the zone. The zone was the difference maker last year, and I think this club will be tough to zone.
Ramon splits the top pair, and as you say, he knocks it down.
Tough to zone this club. They have too many shooters from the perimeter.
They are a great shooting team. They are a great passing team, Pittsburgh. Ranked among the leaders in the country in assists and also one of the best in the country in fewest turnovers.
As I said on the top, they really pride themselves, both these clubs, to play defense, and they pride themselves to play together. Very unselfish.
Yes.
Wait for the ball. They wrote about that today in a local paper, about the similarities.
Shot clock at 3. Wallace gets it up in time. It grazes the rim as it comes down to Gray. Pittsburgh in transition. Benjamin the pull-up. Makes the follow. Benjamin again, but we've got a foul.
And they both really get after the ball on the glass. Benjamin makes some big shots against Syracuse in the win up at Syracuse.
There ain't nobody hot as us up in your spot. Giving it to you play by play and shot for shot. ESPN is in the house, it's about to pop. The NCAA has got the game on lock, and we can't. Let's go.
A terrific start to this one here in Pittsburgh. The visiting Hoyas and the Pitt Panthers in a nail-biter, a 1-point lead early for Pittsburgh. Welcome back to the Saturday Primetime, presented by DirecTV. Next week on ESPN's family of networks, the student involvement of Spirit Week begins, capturing the passion that students bring to college basketball.
College basketball around the world.
That is a crowd pleaser. And here they come.
They start up and cheer. What emotion. This place is lightning. That's incredible.
Game over.
What a power. What a power. Look at this.
That's one of the things that separates this sport from some other sports, the outstanding atmospheres in different arenas around the country. We'll be back here at Pittsburgh on Tuesday night. Kansas, Oklahoma State, Clemson, even though they lost their first game, you know, they're going to be fired up with North Carolina in town. There's so many great environments around the country.
And then we'll be down here in North Carolina on Saturday night. Unfortunately, you're not going to be here, but in a way, it's a congratulations to Matthew and Bar Mitzvah. I know Sarah's all fired up, Matthew.
Yes.
I know you are as a dad. I talked to Mike Patrick today. I haven't worked with Mike yet this year, but he's going to be down here in North Carolina. Looking forward to seeing Mike and having a great time. But believe me, I'll be thinking about you and your family.
Thank you. I'll catch up with you the next week. We're going to Ohio State the week after next. Jeff Green off to a great start here tonight. 8 early points. He gets a breather on the bench, and both 7-footers are back in the game at the same time, Hibbert and Gray.
Both clubs executing so well, making a good pass. Shot selection so important. Look at a great execution. Move the basketball.
Good ball fake there by Patrick Ewing. As he has checked in, the transfer from Indiana. Hibbert tries to go up and under. Good defense there by Gray.
But at least he's being aggressive. You can see that John Thompson III got into his players, especially these two big guys. If we're going to win, they need Green and Hibbert to be assertive.
Gray over Hibbert, and it spins in for him.
He hesitated a little bit, and then it was the little hook shot, the jump hook, that gave him space to get that shot off.
Dick Gray, a guy who played sparingly his first 2 years, was a lot heavier, was not in great shape, was behind the likes of Chris Taft and Siobhan Troutman, named the Big East most improved player last year and maybe even better this year as a senior. Underneath, And laying it home is Tyler Crawford, described as the heart and soul of the team by his coach, John Thompson.
Very tenacious player, just a tough-minded kid who does all the little things to win. What they do really well, they invoke their guards. They utilize their guards around the baseline a lot.
Nice thought about it. He's got good range. Instead, dumps it off, and Cook is real sneaky along the baseline, draws the foul, and will shoot a couple.
Take a look right here now. Spinney forces. Gray does a great job of pushing him off on the angle. Now here on the offensive side, see the little jump hook? He hesitates. He waits for the defense, and that jump hook gives him a little space.
I asked Gray's shoot-around today, Dick, why he chose Pittsburgh. Rutgers was interested in him. Michigan was interested. Indiana was interested. And he said, you know what? I like a physical style of basketball. I'm not really a finesse guy. It's not going to be pretty. I just watched Pittsburgh play, and I thought I could fit in with them.
I'll tell you what I love that he said. I didn't come back to school because I wanted to get better and stronger for the NBA. I came back because I wanted to contribute to my team. As you look at his family,
Dad, they come to every single game, a 4.5-hour drive from their hometown of Emmaus, Pennsylvania.
You're talking about guys that stayed in school, made some great decisions. He was one, Morris Alvin, down there with Rice, Flalo, Casikas.
Flalo hit the game-winning jumper for UCLA today over USC.
Yeah, you think Ben Howard might be watching us. His daughter goes to Pittsburgh.
That's right.
She babysits for Jamie Dixon's kids. Ben did a great job here and is doing a phenomenal job with the UCLA Bruins.
And Howland and Dixon still the closest of friends, talk several times a week, and don't expect them to play each other unless it's in the NCAA tournament. Sapp leaves the three short with the shot clock running down, pushing it to Levance Fields. Numbers for Pitt, and Cook lays it in.
Levance Fields is not going to be a good player. He's going to be a special player here at Pittsburgh. He understands how to play the point guard slot. 7 of the last 8 games he's been in double figures.
And a great distributor, second in the Big East in assist to turnover ratio. A very unselfish point guard, always looking for his teammates first.
He is going to be a PT period. He's going to be one of the real premier players for Jamie Dixon in this conference.
It was Brandon Knight, then it was Carl Krauser. Now the next point guard for Pittsburgh, Levance Fields, just a sophomore and a budding star already. Well, another crazy Saturday in college basketball. Both men and women's teams, number 1 teams in the nation, lost today. The Maryland women losing to Duke. North Carolina men were beaten by Virginia Tech in a game that wasn't that close until the last couple of minutes. Just another crazy Saturday in college hoops, huh?
But they showed a lot of guts in the way they came back, North Carolina. They'll bounce back. I think there's no doubt. Sometimes you grow up from this. But I'll tell you this, Dan, what makes college basketball so special is right now we don't have an unbeaten team in America.
That's right.
And I know one thing. Clemson was in trouble the day that Maryland lost to Miami at home, because you don't want to play Gary Williams after his team has just lost and you're coming on their floor. And they were ready today, but you got to salute Oliver Purnell and his kids for a great start this year. No one anticipated it.
And they'll host Carolina Wednesday night on ESPN, ACC Wednesday. DeJuan Summers draws the foul. You said it on Game Day, but say it for the benefit of those who may not have been with the Game Day show. Who's your number 1 team in the country right now?
Well, Reese Davis asked that to us up there, and my number 1 choice is easy. It's got to be the Florida Gators. It's the year of number 1 right now down there with football. Aaron's smiling right now, hearing me mention, but the Gators have won 9 in a row. They lost twice to South Carolina last year. They went up there, and they didn't just beat them. They gave them a whipping, man. They went back and gave them a whipping, as Chris Fowler would say. Took them to the shed. They gave them a long-time whipping. Beat them by 34. Humphrey had 7 threes. Great balance. That team is really climbing and playing well.
We'll have them on a primetime game in February in Lexington. Cook on the drive. Well, he's got a way of just slithering his way into the basket. Had that shot rejected, but he generally gets where he's going.
One thing I like about this Pittsburgh club, Jamie's club's got balance. They got excellent perimeter shooters. I say it's the best since I've been following them on a perimeter, with so many variety of people that can hurt you. And then they got the guy inside, Gray, so they give you that balance.
How about this, Dick? They've made 11 field goals tonight. They've got 11 assists. Isn't that incredible?
share the basketball, making that extra pass.
Ramon knocks it down. We'll see if they give Fields an assist on that one.
He can flat out shoot the ball. Every time he lets it go, there's a great chance it's going to go in. He's got great rotation, arm, follow through, perfect technique.
A starter last year coming off the bench this season. Hibbert with a jam.
Good two-man play. Hibbert came on so strong at the end of the year. And I'll tell you one thing, they're getting some players next year at Georgetown. The kid right, my guy, Dickie Weiss, who I respect so much. Hoops Weiss says he might be the best pure shooter in the East, maybe America.
Yeah, Georgetown's got a couple of guards. Chris Wright is one of them. The other is Austin Freeman, considered to be the top two guards in the D.C. area, and they're both coming to Georgetown.
They're getting kids out of DeMatha now. For years, they never got anybody out of DeMatha, that great program.
Ramon forced the steal. Fields comes up with it. Cook, the finish.
What a great catch by Cook. He made like a wide receiver right there. Catching that, he looked super. Looked like Harrison of the Colts.
And a little bit of whooping at the other end between Cook and DeJuan Summers.
Summers a talent, 6'9". You go inside, outside. Had a great high school career. He's been a big plus for them as a diaper dandy.
The floater by Wallace. Nice soft touch by Wallace, the junior out of Harvest, Alabama, averaging better than 11 points per game.
He was being recruited by John Thompson III from Princeton. And then when he decided to come here to Georgetown, I was happy to see him wearing a Hoya uniform.
Dick, we saw that now. 13 assists on 13 made field goals for Pittsburgh.
That's really unique.
Kendall the dish to Cook, and it goes in. It'll be 14 on 14, and that'll be at least the fourth assist of the night already for Levon Kendall.
And I thought this was going to be like a 55-56 game. I was telling to one of the writers, columnists here, Bob Smytson, who wrote about the game day crew.
Let's go to Dave Rebson now in the studio for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
Thank you, Dan. Update you on the NFL. The Colts onto the AFC Championship game thanks to Adam Vinatieri's right foot. 5 field goals, 3 over 40 yards. Indy tops the Ravens by the final of 15-6. Over in the NFC, it is going on right now. The Eagles and the Saints winding towards the half. Philly just took the lead on a Brian Westbrook touchdown run. It is 14-13. Guys.
All right, Dave, thank you. Here, Pittsburgh leading Georgetown by 6. 4.5 to go in the first half at the Pete. Fields for 3.
They can shoot the trifecta, my friends. Very tough team to collapse inside on Gray. Teams tried that. You know, there's 4 games in a row. But the Hoyas, there were 4 games in a row that Gray did not score in double figures. But they made 37 threes in those 4 games.
Pittsburgh on fire offensively, up by 9.
And before Aaron Gray decided whether he would return to Pittsburgh for his senior season, he met individually with each one of his teammates, and he asked them, look, coming in 6th in the Big East, that's not going to be good enough. Losing in the second round of the NCAA, that's not going to be good enough. I want you to work hard and surpass those numbers. Dan, that looks to be exactly what the Panthers are doing tonight for Aaron Gray.
Yeah, they have not been past the Sweet 16, Aaron and Dick, in the Ben Howland and Jamie Dixon era. They've had so much success, but they haven't gone deep into the tournament. As Aaron Gray sits down, I asked him at shoot-around about that fateful last day when he had to decide to leave his name in or take it out. And I said, what was when it came down to decision time, what made you decide? And he goes, my mom. He said, my mom said, you know what? As soon as you get to the NBA, it's a job. Be a kid for one more year.
Well, enjoy being a kid, but also I think the word was trickling down that it was not going to be a high draft choice. Right. Let's be real about that, too.
Yeah, he's gotten himself in even a better condition. He's lost a little more weight. Graves, boy, has he been strong tonight.
They've all been strong on the perimeter. You know, as I said earlier, Dan, before we went to break, 4 games in a row, defenses tried to collapse inside on Gray, and they held him under double figures. But the perimeter game, they made 37 threes in those 4 games.
A foul committed by Biggs. That's what makes Pittsburgh so difficult. They got the big guy inside, and he's got lots of help on the perimeter. And Jamie Dixon has it firing on all cylinders here tonight at the Pete. Emotion on and off the court tonight. It's a Big East battle in Pittsburgh. Number 7 to Pittsburgh, a double-digit lead on Georgetown. Late stages of the first half here at the Peterson Events Center. And don't forget, coming up on the UPS halftime report with Reese Davis, Jay Billis, Digger Phelps, and Hubert Davis. A furious comeback by number 1 North Carolina at Virginia Tech. Will it fall short? The final unbeaten falls, and the Colts D up against the Ravens in NFL playoff action. The guys are getting ready for the halftime show.
We have a lot of fun up there. Hubert Davis not on cloud 9 tonight after his Tar Heels were beaten today. Reese Davis, he's our Peyton Manning. He's the quarterback up there. But his wideouts, I mean, Jay Billis is a tight end, great hands. Digger, he's a running back. He just blocks. And I'm a wideout too. I got good hands. I'm going to tell you this. You don't know that, huh?
You got good hands?
I can run some good hands. Yeah.
I heard Digger was trying to signal you to head to break. He was being a producer on you.
Yeah, he was trying to be the producer. Yeah. They throw me a question, and he starts like, wrap up. And I looked at him and said, you can't be serious telling me to wrap up? Me wrap up? I don't know what that word means.
Wallace knocks him down to make it a 9-point game. Pittsburgh in the first half, 15 assists and 1 turnover, and they lead the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio so far this season.
If you were to chart them, their OER, offensive efficiency rating per possession, would be unbelievable the way they've played thus far.
Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV from Pittsburgh, along with Dick Vitale and Aaron Andrews. I'm Dan Shulman. A Big East matchup between the two teams picked number 1 and number 2. Pitt first, Georgetown second, preseason by league coaches.
These next 3 minutes really vital for Georgetown. They got to get a little momentum going into halftime. They need a little spurt.
Wallace
nice drive.
Drives around Graves and lays it in. Wallace now with 6.
I like Wallace. He really seems to understand how to play. Got to go a one-on-one situation. They're rotating in that 2-3 zone. Should be able to get in the gaps and get some good looks with some perimeter shots.
It's Gray down near the basket. Young setting a high screen. Gray has struggled a little more to get looks and get shots against zones than he has against man-to-man. Dishes to Cook, who misses the 10-footer.
He did a great job passing like that. We call that the zigzag maneuver. Enter the post and look opposite.
Well, he passes as well as just about any big man in the country. He has really become a terrific passer, and he's unselfish. It doesn't bug him to give up a shot to get somebody else a better one.
You're right. Green was aggressive early, but now is standing around a little bit. He's got to want the ball. They got to get Jeff Green involved. He's got to want the ball.
Had 8 early points, and he hasn't scored since. Gray, just his size underneath, affected that shot. No look pass. Cook. And getting back, we got an offensive foul. I think Sam Young is going to get the call.
They got Sam Young up in the air. Big John Thompson at home would love that, because he used to teach taking that charge with his Hoyas. His Hoyas always played so hard. That's the one thing that John Thompson III now has brought back to Georgetown. The intensity, the emotion, the passion. That's what the big fella, the Hall of Famer, did when he was on that sideline. You never beat Georgetown because they weren't ready to play.
Dick, that was the 3rd on Young. Tyrell Biggs also has 3. So both backup front court men for Pittsburgh have 3 fouls. Gray couldn't squeeze it, and the Hoyas make them pay.
They're getting a little momentum right now, the Hoyas, forcing Jamie Dixon to get a little timeout here. An 11-point lead down to 5.
That's
we
right.
said they had to get on a little spurt.
Big Monday presented by Bud Light. Comes your way Monday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. 2 of the top teams in women's college basketball tangled Monday night. Number 5 Connecticut against number 2 North Carolina. UConn roughed up Syracuse today, and Carolina was all over Clemson. Carolina beat UConn 77-54 in the Jimmy V last year. One of the most exciting players in women's basketball, Ivory Lotta.
Lotta is so exciting. I know Doris Burke will be ready to roll. She'll have all the adjectives out.
Averaging better than 15 points and 5 assists per game. A look at the women's top 10. And number 1 Maryland was defeated today by Duke. So Duke and Carolina, the only 2 undefeateds on the women's side. Clemson was the last remaining men's undefeated team, but they lost today as well to Maryland.
You talk about a battle with the Dukies sitting up with North Carolina. That is going to be special. The young Guesting course must be on cloud 9 today with that win over the Terps. High post entry.
Handle the handoff to Graves. Into the final minute of the first half.
Good decision by John Thompson. Came out of the zone, went to a man-to-man. Got to keep him away from the low box.
Gray, the jump hook off the glass.
He got the ball in too deep. He's got that nice touch around there. He lights up when he sees the man-to-man. The zones are allowed to collapse all over.
Even if it's a 7-2 guy, that doesn't bother him all that much. He's just happy to only have one guy defending him.
Well, he told Aaron that he's now going to play against a guy his size. He likes that.
Sapp, the kick in the corner. Green is open and misses the three.
Tell you what he missed right there. They had a little screen and roll. Could have flipped it up to Hibbert.
John Thompson did not like that call. Ed Corbett says it is Pittsburgh basketball, and they can set up for the final shot.
He did such a great job of Princeton when he took over. There was a former player there under Petey Corral. A super knowledgeable. You talk about a guy that knew basketball. Mr. Corral was unbelievable when he was there in Tiger Country.
John spent 4 years there. One of the top assist players in Princeton history. Was the captain his senior year. Now in his third year as head coach at Georgetown, as Pittsburgh will run out most of the clock before launching their final shot.
They're certainly got to be happy with the way they played here offensively in this half. Nice dish. What a momentum builder. Oh, Jamie Dixon's giving fives on the sideline. Oh, is he happy with that? That's the way you like to go in the locker room after the way they performed here in the first half. 41 and a half. I thought they'd have that for the game.
Aaron Gray, the dunk on a beautiful dish from Levance Fields in the closing seconds of the first half to get the Pittsburgh lead back up to 9. Let's go to Aaron Andrews with Jamie Dixon.
Well, Coach, many people curious to see about this big man matchup here. What is your evaluation of Gray versus Hibbert so far?
Oh, they're gonna even up against each other. We weren't too worried about it. Our passing's been very good. Our defense got better as the half went on. Those are things we've got to do. So we're getting better as the half went on.
What is the most important adjustment you need to make in the second half?
We were a little aggressive early. We got too many fouls, 9 team fouls, and we overplayed some things we didn't want to do. It's just hyped up a little bit, so we're going to settle down. We did as the half went on.
Coach, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
He was bang on about the passing, Aaron. It was outstanding passing for the Panthers in the first half, and Aaron Gray benefited from that. We'll be back with the UPS halftime report right after this.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dell. Business solutions designed with one company in mind. Yours. Dell. Purely you. And Pontiac, the official performance machines of the NCAA. This is the UPS halftime report.
At the peak tonight, Aaron Gray's gotten loose for 8 points inside, and Pittsburgh very efficient on offense in the first half. 41-32 lead over Georgetown. Pitt, the lone remaining undefeated team in Big East play. Hubert Davis, Digger Phelps, Jay Billis alongside. The only team coming into Saturday with a perfect record overall, the Clemson Tigers, 17.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
The second half, not the grinded out affair we expected.
No, Georgetown's got to play better defense. They allowed Pitt to shoot 64% in that first half, and they got too many baskets in transition. Georgetown's got to do a better job of getting back. They gave up 41 points. That's the most they've given up in the first half all year.
But Pitt's bench got into this game early. When you take a look at their bench, they did the things they needed to do. They had an up-tempo game. They went fast break. They also got 12 points off of 6 turnovers. That's what I like about Pitt. They're up 9. They got to maintain that the first 4 minutes of this half.
Well, Roy Hibbert has 6 points, but I think he can be a little bit more aggressive when he catches the ball outside the lane at the high post. Turn around and see what the defense is doing. You might be able to shoot that perimeter jump shot, put the ball on the floor. Only 4 attempts. He needs more attempts in the second half.
Aaron Graves has hit every shot he's attempted. He leads the Big East in three-point percentage, but everything inside the arc in the first half for him. 6 points for Graves. Pitt up by 9. Second half's coming.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the all-new 7-passenger Acura MDX. Acura Advance.
Yeah. It's Code Red in the house with our good friends from ESPN. Woo. Letting you know it's game time. There ain't nobody hot as us up in your spot. Giving it to you play by play and shot for shot. ESPN is in the house. It's pop to pop. The NCAA has got the game on lock. And we can't. Let's go. man in the house without
Back
good
here at the
friends
Pitt, a very
from
entertaining
ESPN.
first half, especially for Pittsburgh. They were very crisp offensively. Saturday primetime, presented by DirecTV 41-32 Panthers as we go to the second half. You know, a guy who looks a little bit like you had a blue wig on in the but I know you would never stoop to something like that.
Wacky.
So, Professor Vitale, give us your grade for the Pitt Panthers in the first half.
Professor Vitale, back on my days teaching, if I had to give a grade right now, I give A+ to the Panthers. 16 assists and only 2 turnovers, and I give an A to Georgetown. A to Georgetown. They were outstanding.
Well, let's take a look at some of that passing.
Look at the way they dished the rock. They really shared the basketball. There's Fields with the little dish inside. They were so unselfish. That was the key to the first half. Be unselfish, be balanced, get the high percentage shot. I'd give an A+ to Pittsburgh and an A to Georgetown because Georgetown was very effective. If they didn't have their A+ game on Pittsburgh, they'd be down here at the half.
As we mentioned in the first half, and it bears repeating, Pittsburgh leads the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio. They got 16 assists and only 2 turnovers tonight. Levon Kendall will go to the line as we go to Aaron Andrews.
Dan, I had a chance to speak with Hoyas coach John Thompson III. He said the Pitt's dribble penetration is a massive concern for him right now. He said it is killing Georgetown. He said once Pittsburgh's guards get in the lane, they are picking us apart. He's looking for adjustments on that end.
It's interesting because in recent years when you thought of Pittsburgh, you thought of a big, tough, physical team, and they still are, and they still got Gray in the middle, but they've got better guards than they've ever had before. And for Georgetown, you think about the backdoor cuts more than anything, and Jamie Dixon said, yeah, but they rebound as well as any team in the Big East. That was his biggest concern coming into the game.
That was always the strong suit during the great Georgetown years, offensive rebounding. But the one thing they haven't done a good job, and John Thompson III alluded to it, stop penetration. Yep. Beat your guy. You got to beat him to a spot. You can't make him make the turn.
In the Georgetown offensive scheme, the big guys, Hibbert and Green, will step out and pass as well. Kendall comes up with a deflection and a steal.
The reason that Hibbert doesn't have bigger numbers, they have a difficult time getting him the basketball at the right time.
Graves baseline, kicks it back out. Sapp anticipated it. What a great pass to DeJuan Summers.
Summers is going to be a special player in the Hoya uniform, but he made a terrific play there, Sapp, in one move, the way he spun and made that pass.
Sapp didn't get a whole lot of minutes last year playing behind more experienced players, but he's become a starter and a big contributor this season.
Well, you know, you had Owens, Cook, and Bowman.
Yep.
Had some terrific players.
Kendall knocks down the 12-footer.
I tell you, your guy from up in Canada starting to start look for his shot a little bit more. Remember he had that 40-point explosion on the USA?
Summer before last, even though in 4 years at Pittsburgh his career high is 15, but on this team he sets screens, plays defense, takes charges, blocks shots, not really needed to score big points.
Hey, as a dedication to you, Mr. Shulman, you see what I did?
Look at
I put the Dan Shulman all-Canadian team. Nash, he's going to get another super. I think he's the MVP. Rick Fox, remember when he played in North Carolina? McGlure up at Kentucky. I'll tell you, that's a tribute to you, Mr. Shulman.
Thank you. All I know is 2 NBA MVPs, and I was having lunch with you when they announced Justin Morneau won the American League MVP.
I was shocked he beat Algina.
Graves counted!
What strength by Graves to be able to convert that. To have the hands, he got both very strong, but had the physical ability to be able to hang and to convert it. And the Oakland Zoo loves it. I remember Spirit Week next week. There'll be all kinds of the Cook's Kitchen, baby.
Antonio Graves, kind of an under-the-radar guy in his career in Pittsburgh, has always been overshadowed by guys who have scored more, or gotten more publicity. But boy, has he had a solid career.
What a week they have. If they can win the trifecta, beat right now within 10 days, if they can beat Georgetown at home, Connecticut at home, and Marquette at home, what an up they would have on people around the league. Because they already got 2 road victories.
They're 3-0 in the league. They're the 7th-ranked team in the country, 15-2 overall. Do you look at them as being head and shoulders, maybe not head and shoulders, but are they in your mind the best team in the Big East? Can anybody else share the spotlight with them?
Well, you know, right now they certainly look to me as the premier team. I think the fact that they won up at Syracuse is a big plus for them.
Syracuse winning at home against Villanova today. I guess the big question is, after Pittsburgh, you got a whole cluster of teams that are virtually impossible to separate.
I think we're going to start to see Louisville get better and better.
This three from the corner, out of bounds to Pittsburgh.
Connecticut's going to come up here on Tuesday night with such a young basketball team, and this could be a tough situation for all those diaper dandies.
Connecticut comes into action tonight, having lost 3 out of 4. They're at St. John's tonight. Those young Huskies learning some tough lessons now that conference play is underway.
Well, what about Marquette putting a hurt like they did today on West Virginia?
Kendall. And it'll go. A big second half for Levon Kendall.
I think Levon Kendall knows you're in the house. I think he knows you're in the house. He said, this is my buddy from up in Canada, Dan Shulman.
Timeout Hoyas.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You got to give them an A+, my friends. The Pittsburgh Panthers have been awesome, baby, with a capital A.
This telecast is available in stunning high definition on ESPN HD, presented by Olivia. Over to Pittsburgh tonight, now a 15-point lead for the Panthers. They're having a great second half, and specifically fifth-year senior forward Levon Kendall is having a great second half, starting to fill it up in addition to all the little things that he does on a night-in, night-out basis. And we were talking about Dick had his all-Canadian team, which I didn't know was coming, but he left off the man who invented the game, who is up from near the Ottawa area, Dr. James Naismith. You're one of the recipients of the Naismith Award for contributions to the game of basketball. None of us would be sitting here tonight if it weren't for that man.
Unbelievable how he discovered that game, and it added so much joy to so many people. Hey, Stacey Dales, what a backcourt. She and Mr. Nash together, that makes some music.
That's right.
Stacey get her shots, too.
Well, let's see how Georgetown responds. Nice cut there by Hibbert, and count it.
They wanted a walk-in violation, but there was no walk there. Went down the lane. John's got to be a little pleased at least here, looking inside to Hibbert, something they didn't do against Villanova.
The foul committed by Cook will send Hibbert to the line, looking for the three-point play. Hibbert, like Gray, was a project when he came to high school. Actually, as a young man, 14, 15 years old, he'd go to McDonough, the small gym on the Georgetown campus, and he'd play against Matumbo in the morning and some of the big guys, Sweetney, and he was just manhandled. Even though he was as tall, he just wasn't strong, wasn't in shape, but he, like Gray, getting physically stronger year by year.
They've had so many great big guys. When you think of Patrick Ewing, certainly one of the greatest, one of my favorite players. I see so much similarity between Greg Oden and Patrick Ewing.
I agree with you. Cook has it deflected away by Green. Pittsburgh ball, the shot clock doesn't reset. It's at 4. Graves creates a little space, and it'll be out of bounds to the Panthers.
Right now, if you're Georgetown, you got to go on a little spurt. And on the other side, you're a little bit concerned if you're Pittsburgh, a coach on the sideline, that maybe a little complacency sets in. So many times you and I have witnessed clubs playing so well that all of a sudden they go through a drought.
Well, look at Virginia Tech against Carolina today. Had a lead of about 20 with just 5-6 minutes left, and ended up having to scratch and claw their way to the win at the end. Graves left open. He won't miss one.
What a great pass, though. Anticipated, created by Kendall. The great look for the open shot.
Kendall now with at least 5 assists. And again, Pittsburgh is putting on a passing clinic here tonight.
I think the clinic they're putting on is how to be unselfish and win. To play truly as a team. T for togetherness, E for effort, A for attitude, and M for mental toughness.
Well, you talked about it. Karl Krauser was a terrific player, but he dominated the basketball at times, whereas on this team, everybody's getting a chance to touch almost every time down the floor.
Kendall and Graves really have scored all 10 points here in the second half.
Here's Graves from the elbow. Gray keeps it alive, but it's out of bounds to the Hoyas as we go to a timeout.
I think the key is the fact they're not turning the ball over.
When we come back, Dick alluded to it. We'll take a look at Dickie V's all-time Georgetown team. Some pretty big names.
Hey, that's my name. That's my name. That says Vitale. That says Vitale.
And welcome back to the Peterson Event Center here in Pittsburgh, where the Panthers have a 14-point lead on Georgetown. As mentioned, the UV has put together his all-time great Georgetown Hoya team. Here they are.
Well, that's just my team. Doesn't make me right. It's subjective. I love Sleepy. He was special. Sleepy Floyd, the mid-range game. How could you not like Mr. Ewing? Get dominated. And Matumbo blocking shots, still in the NBA. Alonzo as tough as they come. And the little guy puts a show on. Allen Iverson, what a combo he'll be when he hooks up with Mr. Anthony. Reggie Williams would be one of my 6 guys. And Paul Tagliabue. I'll tell you, I'm so happy he got nominated for the Football Hall of Fame. And I'll tell you this, he has contributed so much to the NFL. Paul Tagliabue was a great basketball player.
Played there from 59 through 62 and is in the top 10 in rebounding average in Georgetown basketball history.
He's a finalist for the Hall of Fame. He's also going to be a recipient of one of the highest honors given by the NCAA.
Little jump hook goes in for Green, and it's been a while since he was heard from, Dick. That's his first points, his first field goal since about the first 5 minutes of the game.
First 5 minutes he was dominant. We thought we were going to have a special night. They're back in that 2-3 zone. They were 15 down last year and came back and won and went to a zone and played a smaller lineup. But this is a different Pittsburgh team. This team has so much more balance.
Hibbert is in the game for Georgetown. Gray is not right now for Pittsburgh. You know how crazy it is this early in the Big East with Providence losing today at Louisville.
And they've been a real surprise all year. They got Curry back.
With Providence losing today, Pittsburgh is the only team in the entire 16-team league that is undefeated in conference play. Every other team has already lost at least a game already.
Well, everybody beats each other. I think right now you look at the nation, I know people are saying Pac-10 the best conference. I'd give the edge to the SEC. I still think the SEC, from top to bottom, when you talk to the likes of Florida, and you look at LSU and Kentucky's, I think that league, Alabama, Mark Godfrey, I said it last week and I'll say it again. He deserves a raise for what they're giving Saban. They should take care of Godfrey.
Wallace into traffic, and he's fouled.
Good drive right there.
Gary Prager with a call. The foul is going to go on Benjamin, I believe.
You know, the RPI rates the SEC number 1, the Pac-10 number 2, ACC number 3, Missouri Valley 4, Big 10 5, Big 12 6, and has the Big East 7. That's not the VBDI, though.
Here's what the booing is about, and I want to revisit what you just said in a moment. The booing is that many people feel here, and I agree with them, that Wallace was not shooting that ball. He was trying to pass that ball when he was fouled, and this shouldn't be a shooting foul.
What, are you becoming a zebra now, too? You're becoming a zebra. I mean, you're a zebra. You're an announcer, you're a zebra, you're a baseball analyst. It's unbelievable.
Hey, the more versatile you are, the better a living you can earn, right?
I think you'd be a great zebra. I've been watching you with those eyes.
No thanks. We'll let Ed Corbett and Gary Prager and Bobby Donato do the job here tonight.
Hey, the VBDI, my Vitale Ball Dome Index disagrees with the RPI. I have to tell you that. And the one thing about the Big East, its rankings are going to get higher and higher now as they're in conference play, playing each other.
The Big East lost a ton of great players from last year. In fact, Aaron Gray is the only player who was on the all-conference team, which I think is 10 players in the Big East last year, who is back this year. So you could say 9 of the top 10 players in the league are gone. With one on the shot clock, Benjamin knocks it down.
But what about the ball movement right there, Dan? That was really epitomizing what has transpired here tonight. The way they shared the basketball with one another.
It has been a clinic in that regard for the Panthers. Muscling his way in, Patrick Ewing Jr.
Patrick Ewing Jr. came by the way of Indiana. Certainly the Hoosiers are starting to get better and better.
Ewing, a real energy guy. They don't look to him for offense. He'll get 10, 12 minutes a game. They're looking for energy and defense. Keith Benjamin making the most of his minutes. He's got 6.
Everybody's playing well right now. They got a couple guys went into foul trouble, but they have so many fouls to give. Young and Biggs got 3, but they're so balanced. Look at the pride on the defensive side by Fields.
Gray and Hibbert defending one another. Nearly 8 minutes into the second half, Pittsburgh by a dozen. Ewing the pull-up. And following it, I think Hibbert is the guy who's going to get credit for the basket that makes it a 10-point game. 11 now for Hibbert.
I'll tell you one thing, they're not going away. They're just battling and battling. I mean, the way Pittsburgh's been playing, you would have think they've been up like 20, 25.
Because they can't play much better than they have tonight. Good high screen there by Gray. Hibbert didn't call it out. Wallace got crunched. Benjamin follows his own miss. Ramon open.
You don't want to give him too many open looks. He's going to go to the foul line now. It's a 3-2. He's going to get 3 opportunities. Gray, by the way, has not scored yet here in the second half.
The foul on Wallace. 3 free throws coming for Ramon here in Pittsburgh. Great intensity inside this building as always. 55-45, Pittsburgh over Georgetown. Here at the Peterson Event Center, Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. Dan Shulman, Dick Vitale, Aaron Andrews with you here with the sold-out Pete. Don't forget, we are back here Tuesday night for Pittsburgh and Connecticut. Another Major League tussle in the always competitive and physical Big East. Aaron Gray getting a breather right now for the Panthers. Jeff Green's got to get it going for the Hoyas.
He really does. Hey, how about a salute to this kid? You talk about a great day. Listen to this. Stefan Lasme, you ready for this from Massachusetts? 44 points, 26 rebounds, and 17 block shots in wins over George Washington and Temple this week. And you want a really great week? Think about these last 3 games. Young man by the name of Kevin Durant, 99 points and 42 rebounds. He might be the best player in America.
Could he win Player of the Year even as a freshman? You think
I think Tucker. I think Tucker right now has to get the edge for what he's done for Wisconsin. Even today they struggled. Second half he came up big. He makes all the big plays.
Ramon knocks down all 3. Durant has had 3 monster games against Missouri, Colorado, and Oklahoma. 99 points and 42 rebounds. That's incredible stuff.
He's a most productive diaper dandy in America.
And away from the play, we've got a foul going against Pitt. It's going to be on Benjamin, who's had a very good stint on the floor here in the second half.
That foul really hurt against Ramon there for Georgetown. They were making a little run, got it down to 10. Foul him, put him to the line. He converts all 3, gets it back to 13. See, the one thing, Georgetown hasn't scored more than 70 all year, basically. So it's very difficult for them to put a lot of points on the board.
Now, Pittsburgh, a very good defensive team. Both of these teams are very good defensive teams. Great stat on Pittsburgh. They have not allowed an opponent to shoot 50% or better for 68 consecutive games.
What I want to state there is that Georgetown has only scored 70 or more 5 times this year. Had 86 in a win at Vanderbilt, 73 with Fairfield. Had a big game with James Madison, Oral Roberts, and Winston-Salem.
You know, getting back to the field goal percentage, you know what Georgetown's shooting tonight? 60%.
And it's amazing.
And they're down 13.
I know, they played really well. When you look at Pittsburgh, they've executed their half-court game as well as any team I've seen thus far this year.
Both of these teams will use a fair bit of the clock on each possession, so that there tend to be fewer possessions, slightly lower scoring games. They're both playing well offensively, but it's not going to be a really high-scoring game. It's higher scoring than we thought it would be, but it's not going to be a high-scoring game.
I think the great times for Georgetown are the future. I think recruiting is going to be elevated. They signed a great junior by the name of Braswell from DeMatha as well.
Nothing easy for Georgetown tonight. No, they had some backdoor cuts in the first half, but nothing in transition. No easy layups.
Well, that's because of the great defense by Pittsburgh. They do a terrific job in defensive transition. They don't allow you to get numbers.
Ewing can't find Green inside. He's got Gray on him right now. Green for 3. Jeff Green, maybe he's the guy to carry this team if they're going to mount a comeback here tonight.
You know, last year they scored 58 against the Hoyas. They already had 58 tonight, losing 61-58. John Thompson III stated earlier he's 2-0 against Jamie Dixon.
Beat him here 2 years ago, beat him down in D.C. last year. Each game a 3-point game.
You know, Jamie Dixon, along with Jim Boeheim, are the only coaches in the Big East to take their teams to the NCAA tournament 3 consecutive years in terms of their first 3.
Sapp baseline. Kendall got a piece of it. Sapp gets it back with 16 to shoot.
Had no chance there drove in no man's land. There's a look at Doc Rivers' son.
Now the shot clock's at 6. Summers will have to put it up. And it'll be out of bounds. The officials confirm they'll give it to Pitt.
This crowd is alive. I tell you, they've been alive. Well, they're going to change their mind.
They might overturn this, and they do.
They're going to change their mind.
Jamie Dixon didn't like that at all. Happened right in front of the Georgetown bench.
That helps a little.
Strap is set on and make a call.
Come on, you got 2 eyes. What do you say?
I guess off Ramon. I don't know. It's even on a replay, it's hard to see. Hibbert on the bench. Gray in the game right now. Georgetown with the ball, but down 10 midway through the second half.
They really make it work, Georgetown, in defending those weak side cuts.
Backdoor, sack, 8-point game. Green gets the assist.
What a great job of making that bounce pass up to single digits. Timeout. Could this be deja vu of last year again? They were down 15, came back and won. That was in Hoya country.
An 8-point lead for Pittsburgh as we go to Dave Repson in the studio for a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
All right, thank you very much, Dan. As we fill you in on the NFL, the Colts onto the AFC Championship game. Adam Vinatieri, 5 field goals, 3 of them over 40 yards. Indy tops the Ravens 15-6. And over in the NFC, it is the Eagles right now on top of the Saints, although New Orleans just seconds ago has actually scored now to take the lead in this game. It is 26-21. Brian Westbrook does have a couple touchdowns for the Eagles. Extra point pending in that one, guys.
All right, Dave, thanks for the update. Let's get back to how Georgetown is running that backdoor cut, and Green is so instrumental, Dick, in the Princeton/Georgetown offense.
Well, he's so vital to their offense. He passes the ball exceptionally well. We're going to see, freeze it right here. See, here's the backdoor cut. Now Green's going to get him the bounce pass right here for the layup. There's the backdoor. There's the bounce pass. Green's one of the best big players in passing the ball, like Robertson, Duke, and also Welch, who I love at Air Force, who came back and had a big win today.
That play started, Dick, with all 5 Georgetown players above the 3-point line. So when Sack went to the basket, there was nobody there to help at all.
Well, they take away help by bringing you out. And if you don't come out and play them, they get an open shot.
Kendall's knocked down. Ewing's going to be called for the foul.
It's a little complacency setting in. I talked about it earlier. You know, you start to rest on your laurels. You play so well. You're so excited with your performance. And this guy's a fighter. I mean, he learned. His dad. I think about all these young coaches today. Sean Sutton, Tony Bennett, all come from that. I'll tell you this. Pat Knight is going to be the same way. They've learned so much being around their dads.
Kendall, the kick. Fields won't put it up.
His brother Lonnie Thompson, coaching out of Ball State.
Yeah, they played each other this year. Georgetown winning as Cook. Again, boy, he finds a way into the paint and lays it in.
I am so surprised that Georgetown, with the tutelage of John Thompson III, that their guards are allowing that kind of penetration.
11 now for Cook. Cook's really fit in nicely with Pittsburgh. Practiced with them as a transfer last year. A deep 3 from the corner for Ewing.
That's a big 3. He's so athletic, Ewing. He's a good athlete. Not really what you call skilled as a player, but very athletic.
And they say he's a great energy guy, even if he's not playing. Even last year as a transfer, when he was wearing a suit and tie over on the bench, that he was a big help to them with all of his energy and his enthusiasm.
So tough trying to play with your dad's name.
And this one is going to go, boy, against Ewing. That is a tough call. Gray used that elbow pretty effectively to get around him.
Well, Gray was down there in the post, got the ball in deep.
Timeout on the floor. Pittsburgh's lead down to 7.
Exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. There's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's DirecTV. And in part by Toyota, moving forward.
This telecast is available in stunning high definition on ESPN HD, presented by Olivia. Back here in Pittsburgh, along with Dick Vitale and Aaron Andrews, I'm Dan Shulman. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. We're inside the Big East with the Panthers, who at one point led by 15, are now leading Georgetown by 7.
It was 49-34. They were in great shape. Aaron Gray got the ball in deep. I know you sort of questioned that call on that low box. Could go either way. Hey, I'll tell you this. Take a look at these numbers here. Jeff Green in the 4 losses. Old Dominion, he's 1 for 2, 2 points. Oregon, he's 2 for 4 with 5. Duke, 2 for 6 for 8. Villanova, 2 for 5, 7. That's been the common denominator. Today, he's shown a spark. This game is far from being over.
Yep. Gray, as you saw graphically as he came back out on the floor, has yet to score in the second half of this game as he goes to the line now, a 63% shooter.
The one thing I like about him, though, he allows the game to come to him. He doesn't force shots, doesn't take bad shots.
Left that one way short. It's an 8-point lead for Pittsburgh. Georgetown basketball.
See, right now it's got to be Green and it's got to be Hibbert. They got to get some shots here. It's crunch time to them. When you're down like this on the road, you got to go to your best options.
Green's the high scorer in the game with 13. Hibbert's got 11. Summers misses the 3. Fell down, and Cook gets a dunk at the other end.
No score, though. You don't have to show time. You don't have to pose. And almost got to be somewhere with a foul, and then earn it at the free throw line. Take the ball and go to the rack and score. Don't need all the mustard. Let me put all the mustard.
You're Mr. Mustard.
I'll take the mustard.
Cook now with 13.
This crowd is so alive, so excited.
We'll see him again Tuesday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN 2 against Connecticut.
The Oakland Zoo.
6th year in this great building, coinciding with Pittsburgh's rise to prominence in the Big East.
Got to really credit Ben Holland with being the architect who got it started. He really did. Hired a great assistant in Jamie Dixon, Barry Rorson, now at Manhattan. Played a great role in bringing some of these kids from New York, like Fields out of Zavarian, where they produced a player, one of my favorites of all time, Chris Muller.
Former Pittsburgh player Chris Taft also went to Zavarian.
Made a major mistake going to the NBA. You know what's amazing? During the Holland and during the Dixon era, there's not one guy in the NBA.
No, not one player from the 8 years they've been the head coach. Those two in the NBA, they have not had a single McDonald's All-American, yet they've been as good a team as there has been in as good a conference as there has been in the country. Look, no look past the Gray.
What a terrific look by Cook. All created again by a breakdown defensively, allowing penetration.
The 21st assist of the night for Pittsburgh.
Every time it looks like Georgetown's making that little spurt, here comes Pittsburgh with a great play.
Ewing with his second 3, giving John Thompson big minutes. A Thompson on the sideline and a Ewing on the floor for the Hoyas.
Pretty big names in the world of basketball, I'll tell you that. Ewing and Thompson.
Patrick Ewing has knocked down a couple of threes. He's made 7 in 14 attempts this season.
Take a look at this right here. Inside the play, dribble penetration. Once he gets into this area here and he attacks. Now watch, he's going to get in that area there. He's going to drop it off for a layup. Dribble penetration. The old theory, the 3 Ds. You drive, you draw, and you dish. And you drop that rock off, and they get an open layup.
And having a big guy to catch it and dunk it doesn't hurt the cause. Hey, Big Monday presented by Bud Light. All a part of Student Spirit Week on ESPN. It begins at 7 Eastern with Marquette facing Louisville. Both teams won today. Marquette over West Virginia. Louisville handled Providence. Then at 9 Eastern into the Big 12 as Missouri takes on its arch rival, the number 6 Kansas Jayhawks, who needed overtime today to defeat Iowa State.
But the key is they got the W. Bill Self, that's all that counts. It's not about the margin. It's about getting the W. And trust me, the Tar Heels will be back big time. They're too talented and too well coached. And that environment next Saturday when they play Georgia Tech will be special.
It is out of bounds to Georgetown. Kansas, like these two teams, very balanced. It can be Rush one day, Chalmers one day. Sasha Khan had some very nice moments today for the Jayhawks.
Paul Ewing had a nice win over Florida State. Got the win over Duke. So right now, Georgia Tech playing well. They'll be down there next Saturday. And Chapel Hill will be there with our game day crew. Listen to the enthusiasm and the energy.
It's great.
Unbelievable.
Another backdoor cut and another layup. And a foul to boot. Ewing with the assist.
Ewing made a great drop of the pass. He's played so well. They got it down to 7. Look at the back door. There he goes. Layup. Oh, terrific look.
Kendall called for the foul as we go to Aaron.
Dan, you mentioned Patrick Ewing Jr., of course, transferring from Indiana, had to sit on the bench last year due to the NCAA rules. He said to me today that was probably the best thing that could happen for him, because he said if he was out on the floor last year, he probably would have committed 2 or 3 fouls right away, because he's a guy, like you mentioned, that gets so excited, that's so emotional. He said sitting on the bench, watching this team play, how John Thompson III wants him to do it was the best thing for him.
Aaron Cook drills a 3. The assist to Levance Fields.
Fields to go. Need a big play. Pittsburgh finds an answer. Gets it back to double digits again. Now it's danger time. They almost have to score with all their possessions now, Georgetown.
Tough layup from Jesse Sapp, who's having a nice offensive night. Great contributions from so many different players for both teams.
They really played well tonight. They will beat 90% of the teams they play if they execute and perform like they're doing tonight, Georgetown. The one area that they're deficient is stopping that penetration up on top.
Look at how many passes on each possession as everybody gets a touch every time down the floor for the Panthers.
It becomes contagious.
Yep.
You want to share the rock with one another.
Everybody's setting screens. Everybody's thinking team first.
Yeah, just like you. Share the mic with me.
Field
pass.
Kendall. Offensive foul.
That was a good call. That was a definitely good call. He was up in the air. Defense rotated over.
Jamie Dixon's not so sure as we go under 4 minutes to go here in Pittsburgh.
Well, what do you expect out of a coach, especially at home? Ewing and Sapp have combined for the last 12 Hoya points.
Many have. Back here in Pittsburgh, the Panthers lead the Hoyas 68-60. 3:58 to go. Beautiful building here, the Peterson Event Center. But we've lost Aaron Anders. Aaron, where are you?
Well, if there's food in the house, that's where I am, with some burgers, chicken fingers. This is a really cool way to watch games here. You come back in the suite, you've got your drinks, your food, and then, oh, by the way, step out to the action. Come out with the fans. How about this? I think actually, speaking of Canada, this is how the Air Canada Center is, with the Leafs and the Raptors,
Very good.
those Canadians.
Very good, Aaron. Nicely done. Well, this is a huge step up from Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, and one of the reasons they were able to recruit better and become a better team, in addition to the great coaching, a facility and the weight room, the locker room, all those good things, they help you recruit better players.
Well, they should see this down there in Michigan and do that for Tommy Amica. Get him some facilities with the multi-millions they make in football. Spend some of it for hoops. Rowdy Reptile's got a beautiful one down there in Florida. Yep. They got a great AD who gives you the ammunition to win, Jeremy Foley.
Sapp with a dozen points on a switch. He's got Kendall on him right now.
It's a big possession right here for Georgetown.
It's going to stay at this end of the floor. 9 on the shot clock. Look at these records, Dick. Almost unbeatable at home. And 06, 07, 02, 03, and 03, 04. All of those are since they've moved into this building. 74-6 all time in this building.
Last year, they lost to Seton Hall. That's a big deuce. Gets it down to 6. This has been the least it's been in a long, long time. By the way, Fields hasn't scored, but he's got 6 assists and 0 turnovers.
How about Ewing? He's got 10 points all here in the second half.
Fields had 3 points. 6 assists and 0 turnovers.
And he's second in the conference in assist-to-turnover ratio on the season, almost 3-1.
Did a great job. See, they stopped the penetration right there. They didn't make him make that turn.
Kendall dumps it down off the hands of Gray. He saves it. And a timeout called by Jamie Dixon with 8 on the shot clock, 2:53 in the game.
Well, a good timeout because they lost their rhythm right there. Didn't have any timing in their offensive set.
Hey, Dick, coming up next year on ESPN, it's Sports Center with Matt Weiner and Neil Everett. Among the stories that they'll be looking at are who are the hottest teams in men's college basketball. Are the Colts good enough to win next week? And a preview of the Patriots and the Chargers, one of the games tomorrow.
I'll tell you one thing. I look at Neil, I look at Matt. That was my background when I coached the Pistons. That's why I got fired. I didn't have Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumas. Only kidding you. They do a great job as sportscasters, but I don't think they shoot the J, baby.
6-point lead, 2:53 to go. Well, what does Georgetown have to do in the next 3 minutes if they're going to try to rally and pull this one out?
Well, number one, you got to defend. You got to really stop penetration. And number two, you got to execute and make sure you're getting the high percentage shot. Something they do and do well. This crowd is so alive. I'll tell you one thing. I had some writers doing a national feature on me in these magazines, 2 different stories. And they said, why do you get so excited when you go to the games? I said, why? Come on, look at this drive right here. Oh, I should have laid it on the glass. Should have laid it on the glass or even dunked it.
Georgetown ball.
Big possession here. This baby's getting a little quieter now.
Yeah, it is. Kendall had a lane to the bucket, couldn't finish it. John Thompson is feeling better and better about things now. They've got the ball back.
Remember, it was 49-34, 15 points. Last year it was 15 points, and Georgetown came back and won.
Georgetown has beaten Pittsburgh twice in a row.
Beat him on this floor. John Thompson's first year.
Nobody has beaten Pittsburgh twice since they moved to this building. Ramon's got it one-on-one with Wallace.
Smart play. Yeah. Didn't have anything. Bring it back out. Bring it back out. Ray's such a good passer up on top. Smart play. Good basketball IQ by Ramon. Learned a lot from his dad.
Pittsburgh, an experienced team. They've got 3 seniors and 2 juniors on the floor.
Have struggled shooting free throws except against DePaul, and they're 9 out of 10 in the last 3 minutes.
Shot clock at 6.
Look at the way they move the ball. Are you kidding the way they move that basketball?
Kendall with the offensive rebound.
That's why Andy Katz going with the glue guy. Yep. A blender. We talk about glue, we're talking about blending.
They're going to run more than a minute off the clock here. They used up about 32 seconds before Kendall got the rebound. They're going to run it down again.
And that was Kendall getting that offensive rebound that creates that. Big high screen up here by Gray.
Now here comes Kendall with a screen.
Got to get over 2 tough screens right there. That's a little part of his game.
And a push on Green. Now, Jamie Dixon has said that Kendall can be considered their MVP at times, and that the best thing he does is set screens. The most important thing he does is how many screens he sets.
And it's very important if you're going to defend the team that screens, you better communicate.
Is called for the foul, his second. They're not yet over the limit. But it's another fresh 35 now for Pittsburgh.
You know, sometimes you get down in a situation, you got to put them on the line. Taking a lot of time off that clock.
The next foul will send Pittsburgh to the line.
Taking a lot of time splitting the court. Up on the foul line extended.
Fields is back in there now.
Yeah, you want him on the floor. His passing ability.
Cook. And a foul.
Created the opportunities, drive, took a lot of time off the clock. That's what we call game management. Managing the clock, taking time off it, and getting the high percentage opportunity. Now you got to convert it to the line.
Hibbert the foul, his third. Cook will go to the line. Cook is a 70% free throw shooter on the season. And he's the high scorer in this game, Dick, now with 17 points.
He's taking a lot of good shots, made some good penetration moves from the wing.
Maybe most importantly, Pittsburgh ran about a minute and 25 seconds off the clock down there.
And they got to credit a lot of that to Kendall with them getting that offensive rebound. Cook's Kitchen, baby, they're excited.
Timeout, Georgetown.
What a great game. A lot of intensity, a lot of emotion, a lot of passion. That's why I asked about 12 next week's Spirit Week across America.
Well, let's look across America and some of the big happenings today. Pittsburgh at number 17 trying to hang on for a victory here tonight. It was an active and interesting day in the top 10, including number 1 North Carolina, Dick, going down to defeat in Blacksburg.
Well, you know, Seth Greenberg doing a great job. What a week he's had, beating the likes of Duke, North Carolina, UCLA wins at the end. Aaron Aflalo, great win over a really good Southern Cal team. And when they get O.J. Mayo next year, move over Kobe Bryant. The new super in the city is going to be O.J. Mayo. There's a look there. Florida gets revenge back. Beats South Carolina by 34 today. Wisconsin struggles but gets a big win. Beat Ohio State earlier. Ohio State beats Tennessee at the end. College basketball, it's the best, my friends. It's the best. It gets me so excited.
Final minute here, and Georgetown's got to score fast. They're down 8.
Can't waste no time.
Green high off the glass to make it a 6-point game.
You know, you watch him and you see his multi-talent and you say, why isn't it more often? He has a tendency to drift away from the action. I don't think he realizes how good he is.
Even after you keep talking about it. You talked about it during the Duke game as well. The same kind of thing. He kind of disappeared for stretches during that game.
He lets long periods of time disappear rather than assert himself.
Well, that layup, Dick, gives Jeff Green 1,000 career points, and he's midway through his junior season, well on his way to a terrific career.
I like him. I liked him last year and made a lot of big plays. He's really a talented guy. He can pass, he can shoot, he can drive.
1-1 for Fields, 77% on the season. 3 points, that doesn't tell the story of how good he's been here tonight.
Yeah, he hasn't turned the ball over and has passed exceptionally well. And you certainly like having a point guard like Fields being a pretty good free throw shooter.
As Dick mentioned earlier, 6 assists and no turnovers.
Well, this looks like it'll be a great start for Pittsburgh in this 3-game home situation. Connecticut Tuesday night. We'll be back here. Nick Bollettieri's joining me. Tennis guru.
Marquette next weekend. A win for Pittsburgh. They'll be 4-0 and in sole possession of first place in the Big East. Ewing inside right over Gray. A dozen points, make it 13 points, I believe, now for Ewing off the bench. All of them in the second half. Excuse me, a dozen points for Ewing, but they're out of timeouts. They're down 6, and there's only 30 seconds to go.
He's played exceptionally well off that bench. He really has performed.
Well, let's take a look, Dick, at what Pittsburgh has coming up. You talked about the first couple of games, Connecticut, Marquette, then at Cincinnati, St. John's at Villanova. Talk about the Big East. We've talked about Pittsburgh. After that, how do you see the league sorting itself out?
Well, right now, it looks like a league with Syracuse. 3-1 right now in conference play. Nichols is certainly playing well. I think Louisville's going to get better. Providence was a surprise up until today. And then there's Seton Hall out there. He's had some nice wins. But it's a league where you never know what to expect. You really don't. Connecticut, we know, is so young. I mean, they need a statement victory over someone, and they'll be here Tuesday night.
Marquette played very poorly for a couple of games. Now they played exceedingly well. Their last 2 games, beating UConn and beating West Virginia today. Here is the top half of the Big East.
Look at Notre Dame. They were blown out by Georgetown.
That's right.
They came back and got a win over West Virginia.
And you think Louisville is going to get better and better?
I really do. I think Louisville's in a team that's had a lot of injuries. Rick Pitino's too good of a coach. Hey, by the way, I want to send our sympathy out to Tomo Jackson Oche, a great guy. Used to be with us at ESPN. He had the passing of his mom recently, and we sent our best out to his family.
Terrific guy with the Big East now sitting across the way from us. 72-66 Pittsburgh. 30 seconds to go. Kendall will inbound it for the Panthers.
They're going to put him on the line real quick. Good ball reversal.
And it'll be Kendall that they foul. When you look at the Pittsburgh players, Fields is at 77%. Ramon is at 76. Cook is at 70. Kendall is at 75. And Gray is at 63.
Dan, I look at both these clubs, and I'm so impressed by their coaching techniques. In the right place, a little situation like we watched right there. Inbounds the basketball, there's the trap, and the guy that's going to retrieve the ball is one step behind the trap, so he has the great passing angle to get the ball.
Kendall misses the front end.
Can't waste time, got to get a score, any kind of score. Got to think 3 now. Got to think 3. Got to shoot 3.
And it rims out. Great hustle by Green for the rebound. He couldn't finish. Ewing couldn't follow. And Kendall will go to the line again.
He had to shoot the 3 right there.
Yep.
They needed 2 threes. John Thompson's kids, what a gutty performance. He's perspiring, but he's got to be proud of their effort here on the road. They won 7 in a row by double digits. They went to Michigan, blew out Michigan. They blew out Notre Dame.
One at Vandy. And they may have found something here in Ewing with Mark Eggerson leading the program. Some more minutes are available, and Ewing looks like he's ready maybe to step in and fill the void.
He did a terrific job, but they ran into a buzzsaw because Pittsburgh in the first 30 minutes was absolutely sensational. The first half was a clinic. 16 assists out of 18 baskets and only 2 turnovers.
Amazing. Against a good defensive team. Kendall makes them both.
Well, Connecticut's going to come up here. Jim Calhoun, the Hall of Famer, bringing his young kids. This is going to be quite an experience for them to face this Oakland Zoo, where these fans are absolutely, they go bananas over their Panthers.
That's Tuesday night, 7 Eastern over on ESPN2. Big Monday presented by Bud Light on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. And two of the top teams in women's college basketball. It'll be UConn and North Carolina. Big Monday presented by Bud Light. A couple of big men's games on Monday night as well. We talked about them earlier, with West Virginia taking on Louisville, and then Missouri and Kansas, all a part of Student Spirit Week over the next 7 days. And no surprise we're going to be back here as part of Student Spirit Week. This is one of the great environments in all of college basketball. Well, the clock is going to run out on the Hoyas. They fought hard. They played well. They just came up a little bit short on the road, as Pittsburgh will go to 4-0 and put a stranglehold on the Big East here in the early going. That basket will count for Sapp. But the game is going to go to Pitt. 74-69 will be your final.
Just a terrific performance by Jamie Dixon's kids. As I said, A+ and an A for Georgetown. Both clubs were prepared. They executed. They defended. But when it was all said and done, there was just too much. When you looked at Pittsburgh, the way they shared the basketball so unselfishly, especially set the tempo in the first half.
Terrific balance as well. Mike Cook was the high scorer with 18, and as Dick mentioned, everybody contributed. Everybody did his part tonight here for the Panthers as they go to 16-2. The number 7 team in the country holds home court as they beat Georgetown tonight. Let's go to Aaron Andrews with Aaron Gray.
All right, Aaron, well, coming into the game, everybody's so curious about the big battle between you and Roy Hibbert. What was it like out there between the two of you?
It was just so intense, so physical. You know, you got two of the best big men, the Big East, maybe, you know, two of the best in the country going at it. And, you know, we came out here, gave them a good show.
You told me yesterday the best thing about this team is that you play so unselfish. How do you continue to make that such a strength?
Well, you know, guys are just concerned about winning, you know. As long as we're out here winning, sharing the ball, getting the best shots possible, we're going to be happy.
Hey, guess what? It doesn't get any easier. UConn Marquette come to town, but how does this win set you up for the rest of the way?
Oh, it's definitely very key. You know, it's the first of 3, and, you know, you just got to take one at a time. And, you know, now we're going to prepare as much as possible for UConn.
Aaron, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Aaron Gray and the Pitt Panthers beating Georgetown 74-69 here with the Pete. Coming up next year on ESPN at SportsCenter. For more on this game, we'll be over on ESPN News in just a moment to wrap things up. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Along with Dick Vitale and Aaron Andrews, I'm Dan Shulman. Thanks for watching tonight. This Pittsburgh win over Georgetown. Good night from the Pete. SportsCenter is next.